Coming up on AGWEEK TV, we'll have coverage from the Northern Ag Expo in Fargo, North Dakota, with a look at spray drift technology and carbon credit programs.
I'm Jeff Beach here in Castleton, North Dakota, at one of the ethanol plants that is signed on to the world's largest carbon capture pipeline.
And a Minnesota farm successfully accelerates their lambing program to increase profits. Welcome to AGWEEK TV. I'm Michelle Rook. Our show is coming to you from two separate locations this week. I'm here in South Dakota while Emily Beal is leading our coverage in Fargo. Emily?
Thanks, Michelle. I'm at the Northern Ag Expo at the Fargo Dome, the first post-harvest farm show of the season in the Northern Plains. The expo started in 1993, but wasn't held last year for the first time due to the pandemic. The two-day event put on by the North Dakota Agricultural Association had about 160 exhibitors for its trade show and typically draws 3,000 to 4,000 people. It also features educational programs and recertification for crop applicators. I'll be back later in our show with more from the educational seminars, including carbon credits and spray drift technology. Michelle?
EPA missed the statutory November 30th deadline for setting the renewable volume obligations for biofuels under the Renewable Fuel Standard. The agency hasn't set levels now for 2019 through 2022. Lawmakers and biofuels groups have called EPA out on the delay in setting the amount of biofuels oil refiners must blend into fuel. They say it creates market instability for farmers and consumers.
The administrator promised to get the program back on track, get strong volumes out there, and really drive biofuel and ag demand. And unfortunately, this does the exact opposite. It creates just uncertainty going down the road.
There have also been reports that oil refiners are threatening to abandon the RFS and not buy additional RINs, muddying the future for biofuels. Speaking of EPA, farm state lawmakers are calling on the agency to rescind its decision to revoke all food tolerances for chlorpyrifos and follow a scientifically sound risk-based regulatory process on the registration of all crop protection products. In a letter to EPA Administrator Michael Regan, they point out how the agency ignored the safety findings of its own scientists. Montana Senator Jon Tester has introduced legislation to suspend Brazilian beef imports to the U.S. The move comes after repeated issues with delayed reporting of BSE outbreaks in Brazilian beef. It took until September for Brazil to announce 2 cases of atypical BSE that were detected in June. Most countries report outbreaks to the World Organization of Animal Health within days. NCBA has also asked USDA for an immediate halt to imports.
When you have a food supply chain, when you break that trust, you've got to have huge consequences. And right now, they breached the trust of our food supply system by having a BSE case that they did not report for 8 weeks.
Tester's bill is supported by most major cattle groups and would ensure Brazil's beef is safe before it's brought back into the U.S. market. The government of Vietnam has revised its most favored nation tariff rates for United States corn, wheat, and frozen pork. The decree lowers the duty on corn from 5% to 2% and lowers the duty on frozen pork from 15% to 10%.
Which is always good when we can get more competitive on the pork side and get us more in a level playing field. So yeah, we're very optimistic about that. And Vietnam is one of the growth markets on pork in the long term. So yeah, we're excited about that.
The action also eliminates the MFN tariff on all classes of U.S. wheat. The Tariffs ethanol plant in Castleton, North Dakota plans to become part of a major carbon pipeline project. Summit Carbon Solutions is building the pipeline to send CO2 from ethanol plants to western North Dakota. Jeff Beach explains what it means in this week's AgWeek cover story.
Summit will be meeting with landowners in the coming year as it prepares to lay 2,000 miles of pipeline for the Midwest Carbon Express.
It'll be the world's largest CO2 sequestration project.
The Tariffs ethanol plant in Castleton will be one of 31 plants in 5 states to be part of the $4.5 billion pipeline, which will begin in Iowa. This plant is one of the nation's biggest. It grinds 60 million bushels of corn a year.
It will enable us to continue to enjoy these high corn prices and continue to support the overall ag economy.
But like all ethanol plants, it also generates carbon. The Midwest Carbon Express pipeline will transport millions of metric tons of CO2 a year to western North Dakota, where it will be permanently stored underground. The ethanol plants along the route can benefit from selling fuel for a premium on the low-carbon market.
Long term, that gives us a much more viable path forward in having the plant here for the next 10, 20, 30 years and continue to grind North Dakota's corn right here.
This project will add thousands of construction jobs while the pipeline is built, and when it's done, it will need 400 or 500 permanent employees. In Castleton, North Dakota, this is Jeff Beach for AgWeek.
You can read much more, including how the project will be paid for, in the next AgWeek magazine or at agweek.com. Coming up on AgWeek TV, we'll talk more about carbon credits as we go back to Emily Beal at the Northern Ag Expo.
Superior Grain Equipment offers you the industry's best dryer and grain handling equipment. So make the superior choice and get higher quality grains, test weights, and prices while using half the energy. Superior Grain Equipment.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Every season has an end. After spending your whole life building something, it can be hard to move on to your next stage in life. But when that time comes, you deserve to have someone you trust guide you through the process. And by trusting us to pass on your legacy, it gives someone else the chance to create their own. Every auction has a story. Let us share yours.
Superior Grain Equipment is committed to quality and service. Protect your bottom line and your future with superior quality, protection, and reliability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
Go beyond the headlines with an AgWeek membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to AgWeek and AgWeek TV.
Welcome back to AgWeek TV from the Northern Ag Expo in Fargo, North Dakota. As I mentioned earlier in the show, the Expo is known for educational programs. Mikkel Pates attended a seminar that affects nearly every farmer. Mikkel?
Emily, spray drift continues to be an area of interest and concern. Kevin Humke, Regional Director for TJet Technologies, says now is a good time to study up on the right spray equipment and to check product labels.
We don't want to overlook things. When we overlook things, that's when we usually have a drift application problem. We generally have a miss in the spray where we have to go in and respray. And anyone that has to go in and respray, it's we're losing money. So I'm really into the quality of acre sprayed rather than quantity of acre sprayed. I mean, that's kind of what TJet wants to really instill. Take the time, look over all the things you need to apply for the year.
The dicamba thing, which has been the major drift topic, it seems like, for the last 2 or 3, 4 years.
Dicamba is one thing, but we've got other issues also. But I'm mainly going to concentrate on picking out the right nozzle, spraying it the right way, and going for that label, because the labels now, particularly on the dicamba crop systems, they're calling for not only the rate, but they call for the family nozzle, the size of the nozzle, the pressure range that you can operate in. And that's something that you have to take the time to kind of look at and understand.
Though this is a complex issue, Humke tells me new technology will help keep farmers ahead of the game. Emily?
Thanks, Mikkel. Another topic that continues to garner a lot of interest is carbon capture and carbon credits. Dr. Alejandro Plastina from Iowa State University hosted a seminar on this topic, and he joins me now. What were some of your main points during your carbon credit seminar?
I would say that farmers have a great opportunity in front of them from these carbon credit markets, but it's up to them to really go into the details, learn what's required from them, and whether it's convenient for their operation.
What are some of the implementations that they can bring to their operation?
Great question. So the most programs will require some kind of change in practices, and those practices usually involve no-till or strip-till, planting cover crops, reducing nitrogen fertilizer.
So if a farmer or producer is interested in kind of getting into carbon credits, what are some important questions that they should consider before deciding if this is the right decision for them?
Asking about the length of the contract, the commitment required to participate in the program, the minimum number of acres, what are the out-of-pocket costs to participate in the program.
So how fast can we expect this market to develop?
It will really depend on the development of the protocols and the MVR system, the measuring, reporting, and verification system. I think if we have a strong support for the harmonization or standardization of protocols, I think it has the potential to develop pretty fast. Otherwise, it will be a struggle because most of them are currently at a pilot stage. So it will take a number of years to develop into full-fledged carbon programs.
Dr. Alejandro Plastina, thank you for joining me and discussing this important topic at the Northern Ag Expo. When AgWeek TV continues, Michelle returns with a story of how newcomers from other states are helping to strengthen North Dakota.
I'm Peter Bosch, a farmer from Buffalo, North Dakota. I've been working with Gateway Building Systems for a little over 20 years now. I chose Gateway Building Systems to build my shop because I wanted a building that could both be used for my equipment and as a place for my family to hang out and do things. I decided to go with Brock grain bins on my farm because we've had several of them over the years. My favorite thing about them is how fast the unloaders can take the grain out of the bin and get me on the road to the elevator. The best part about working with Gateway was the ease of making changes or anything that I wanted to add or delete from building the shop. The design crew there was very easy to work with and met and exceeded all my expectations. I would advise anybody that's thinking about working with Gateway to go in and talk to the guys there, tell them your plans and your future dreams, and let them design something that you would be happy with.
At Advanced Grain Handling Systems, we're your full-service grain dryer and bin project partner. We'll handle everything from start to finish.
These guys are all in one. That was one of the big draws. They were the general. They took care of the electrical. They took care of the cement, took care of everything.
Whether your next project is big or small, let our team help with it all. Visit advancedgrainhandling.com.
Risk management is not just for the grains. Livestock producers, did you know you can help protect the price of your production? Livestock Risk Protection, or LRP, is a great tool to help you protect the price of your years of hard work. LRP is available for feeder cattle, fat cattle, and swine. Besides the availability of price risk insurance in your production, cattle producers can also protect their pasture and hayland from the lack of rainfall with Pasture Rangeland Forage, or PRF insurance. To learn more about these programs, call Martinson Ag Risk Management.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy? Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
So November and the start to December have brought above normal temperatures and mostly dry conditions. What's the forecast for the balance of the year? Here's John with our AgriWeather Outlook.
General outlook as the calendar moves on into December. First of all, I found winter. I'm going to show you where that is. Obviously, I'm talking Europe, parts of Eurasia, but there's some pretty cold weather that's dropped in. Our weather in much of northern North America has turned a little colder now into early December, but not outrageously so. In fact, for the most part, it's warmer than average still, or at worst, near average temperatures. And in this particular pattern over North America, we're still not seeing a big manifestation of widespread heavy snow cover. It's more pockety, more here and there, where you get a little weather system passing through. That will eventually change, obviously. The cold weather in Europe, the really frigid stuff is Siberian and parts of Scandinavia, but a lot of the central part of Europe is actually quite cold with below average temperatures. There's been some snow in parts of the northern UK as well, and really most of Europe is quite chilly. That's because the polar vortex, that circulation around the northern part of the pole, well, it's a lot colder over Europe than it is right now over North America. We do certainly have some frigid weather, but it's up in the higher latitudes. Cold weather, that is to say, high temperatures near or below freezing, have dropped down into parts of Montana, North Dakota, and Minnesota, and around the Great Lakes from time to time. But a lot of the southeast is actually warming up now after a kind of a chilly November down in places like Florida. A lot of 80s this week, maybe even a few spots pretty deep into the 80s. And this is actually going to set up with the jet stream at this particular angle, potential for some thunderstorms in parts of the mid-south this week. Cold weather will kind of linger in the northern plains, but again, this is not frigid. This is mostly 20s and 30s in the dark blue. There will be some spots that for a day or two that have a high temperature in the teens, but it's mostly not going to be that really cold stuff that sometimes starts to invade the U.S. during the month of December. There's plenty of time for it this winter. It's still fairly early in the season, obviously. As we spin on into the second week, no dramatic change in the pattern is expected. It will remain relatively cold across the north, but the frigid weather will remain locked up. Many parts of Florida, Texas, and much of the Mid-South will actually be quite warm. So the weather pattern as such, we're going to yield showers and thunderstorms in the southeastern states and the Mid-South. Probably some snow, not necessarily excruciatingly heavy, but some areas of snow over the northeast. And a couple of chances of light to moderate snow will likely yield some snowpack over parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota. Most of the really heavy stuff, though, precipitation-wise, is going to be in the mountains of the Pacific Northwest. Same thing as we move on through mid-December. We're seeing an expansion of snow in the Rockies, a kind of a stormy mid-south, and areas of snow around the Great Lakes. But at the present time, I'm not really seeing that big widespread snow spread.
Don't miss out on the equipment you'll need next season. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer, has early order discounts on its full line of powerful, efficient, new Case IH equipment, including tractors, combines, and self-propelled sprayers. Get a great deal and ensure that you have the latest in productivity and technology. Supply chains are tight. Contact your Titan Machinery dealership today and find out how much you can save by ordering ahead. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH equipment experts.
The team at North Star Ag is committed to quality and committed to you. We're not just a full-service dealer, we're farmers too, so we know you need the best machinery and services that'll keep you going all season long. We have the largest equipment inventory in the upper Midwest with a well-equipped parts and service department. So whether you need machinery tomorrow or parts today, stop in and experience what North Star Ag can offer. Check out all our new and used equipment online at northstarag.com or call 701-361-4790.
Good work, good pay, and a good life. It's the Trans Systems way. Good work, good pay, and a good life. Lets me live my way. Good work, good pay, and a good life. Trans Systems way. Good work, good pay, and a good life. Lets me live my way. It's the Trans Systems way. Good work.
Risk management is not just for the grains. Livestock producers, did you know you can help protect the price of your production? Livestock Risk Protection, or LRP, is a great tool to help you protect the price of your years of hard work. LRP is available for feeder cattle, fat cattle, and swine. Besides the availability of price risk insurance in your production, cattle producers can also protect their pasture and hayland from the lack of rainfall with Pasture Rangeland Forage, or PRF insurance. To learn more about these programs, call Martinson Ag Risk Management.
For AGWEEK, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of AgWeek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. North Dakota's rural communities offer lots of opportunities, and one way to grow is by attracting more people from other states or countries. We're partnering with nonprofit Strengthen ND for this sponsored content series. Rose Dunn visited Kenmare, North Dakota, where the geese may pass through, but people are welcome to stay.
Nestled along the Des Lacs National Wildlife Refuge, Kenmare is known as the snow goose capital of North Dakota. Hundreds of thousands of geese pass through on their annual migration. But the community would love to see migrants of a different kind stay and nest here.
The oil field is what brought our family to Kenmare.
The town of about 1,000 saw a population boost during the height of the oil boom. Bree Rains and her family moved to Kenmare from Oregon in 2012.
It was quite a change. I grew up in the mountains, and North Dakota is very flat. Your guys' mountains are foothills to me.
Bree says the first few winters were a bit of a shock, but Kenmare quickly felt like home. In addition to the change of scenery, Bree found a change of pace as well.
It's a slower pace, too. I think that's kind of underrated. I love it. It teaches you patience and understanding.
Bree started as a volunteer at the Ward County Library branch, quickly working her way up to manager.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity in Kenmare, even in North Dakota in general. And Kenmare, there's very few things that we don't have. There's a lot of job opportunities here.
There's still a fair amount of what I'd consider new people in our community that are contributing in a lot of ways, and we're thankful to have them here.
Jamie Livingston wears a lot of hats. He's a banker and a realtor, and as a lifelong resident, he's a big Kenmare booster. All that gives him plenty of opportunities to help welcome newcomers.
I think what we can do is embrace those people from the day that they first move in, to let them know what we have available in our community, and that once they step out of their home, that they're welcomed and asked if they need anything or what they want to do to get engaged in the community.
And Bree says now it's her turn to welcome others.
People are very passionate about Kenmare, and they want it to thrive, and they want it, to be a successful community that people want to move to and be proud of.
In Kenmare, North Dakota, this is Rose Dunn for AgWeek.
To learn how Strengthen ND helps build big opportunities in small communities, visit strengthennd.com. Still ahead on AgWeek TV.
We'll visit a Minnesota sheep farm that lambs out more than once a year.
Don't miss out on the equipment you'll need next season. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer, has early order discounts on its full line of powerful, efficient, new Case IH equipment, including tractors, combines, and self-propelled sprayers. Get a great deal and ensure that you have the latest in productivity and technology. Supply chains are tight. Contact your Titan Machinery dealership today and find out how much you can save by ordering ahead. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH equipment experts.
Every season has an end. After spending your whole life building something, it can be hard to move on to your next stage in life. when that time comes, you deserve to have someone you trust guide you through the process. And by trusting us to pass on your legacy, it gives someone else the chance to create their own. Every auction has a story. Let us share yours.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Go beyond the headlines with an AGWEEK membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to AGWEEK and AGWEEK TV.
For more than 3 decades, sheep have grazed at Shady Lane Farms at Canby, Minnesota. Mark Giese brought in sheep to add cash flow to the farm, and as Emily Beal reports, he's also accelerated their lambing program.
Driving around the countryside, it seems like you just see more sheep now than 20 years ago.
Nicole Jessen loved growing up around her family's sheep on their farm in Canby, Minnesota. So much so that she started her own flock when she and her husband moved to Redfield, South Dakota.
It's something that I enjoy. It's something I grew up with my dad here in Canby, and it's easy for me and my young family to get our hands on, and the kids can be in the barn and get dirty and do chores and help out. So it's just kind of a family affair.
Shady Lane started out with Hampshire sheep, but quickly switched to polypays. Typically, sheep operations lamb out once a year in the spring, but having polypays has allowed Shady Lane to lamb out 3 times in 2 years, accelerating their breeding program. Polypays are also known for having more than one offspring each lambing season. Mark Giese says raising sheep was a good business plan.
I would recommend it because it's a cheaper industry to get into than it is with like cattle, and it takes less feed, and I'd tell them to go ahead and do it.
With over 3 decades in the industry, it's clear to see that Shady Lane Farms is passionate about the sheep industry. With AGWEEK, I'm Emily Beal in Canby, Minnesota.
Shady Lane Farms was recently awarded Master Lamb Producer in the Purebred Division at the 84th South Dakota Sheep Growers Annual Convention in Pierce, South Dakota. What was beautiful about agriculture to you in 2021? We're inviting you to show off your best photos of the beauty of ag. You can submit your favorite photos, 1 a day per person, until noon on December 6th. Include the photographer's name and a caption for your picture. More details are on your screen. They'll be on AGWEEK.com, and voting runs from December 13th to the 27th. The top 3 vote getters will receive prizes, so send your favorite pictures of the beauty of agriculture now. Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of AGWEEK TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to AGWEEK.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Have yourself a great and safe week.